about how to do business, which is probably impossible because you are the business leaders. We have learned from you how to do business. So probably telling you about doing business is something difficult. But yes, in the era of digital transformation, as they say, where you want to digitize every aspect of business, cybersecurity plays a very important role because business uptime is a very important key factor for every organization. By the time they do the AV ready for me to probably present, how many of you are seeing cybersecurity as a business potential? Because it's a VAR session, so I'll not go the end customer way. I'll probably go the business way and see. Do you see cybersecurity contributing to your business? I know there is a cloud, there is compute. I look at cybersecurity also as a vertical. How many of you feel that cybersecurity is contributing to your business? Because you already see cloud to be a threat. Many of our system integrators feel that cloud is one of the more one of the threatening aspects. Even we as OEMs sometimes feel that whether our jobs will be secured or not down the line, because everything will be based on artificial intelligence and automation. So how will it work around? But as you see, digital transformation will bring more value, and that's how the customers or that's how the end users, the CXOs, look at it. They want integrators to probably ensure that their businesses and their networks are up and running and also secure. So in spite of the fact that you feel that cloud or maybe maybe new technologies or artificial intelligence are coming into play, you will feel that there is a bigger need for integrators who have the skill sets, who have the required expertise to probably deliver for the customers when you achieve. Even when we talk to customers who are looking at platforms like Amazon and Azure, and many of my partners come back to me and say that Navin, hamare liye kya hai space mein? Already everything is going to cloud. There's a big play there. Amazon and Azure are just, as you know, they are just real estate or platforms where you can deploy things. But who will integrate? Who will support them on these platforms? That's a bigger question. So that's where I think there's a lot of play for in the space of digital transformation and cloud at the moment as the topic for today for the WIIT forum. And as from there, I don't know how many can see this, but there is a lot of chinta going on in the governance space also around cybersecurity. So my first highlight is basically for, we all corporates listen about Fortinet, we all customers are educated about it, but the most slow-moving engine is the governance. And if you see today, with this digital transformation that we are talking, digital IT we are talking, and the various aspects that the government is looking into, cybersecurity is one of the very key areas that they have been investing. So even in the new budget for 2018 and 19, the finance minister is making provisions of close to 40,000 crores, probably to spend in the digital transformation space on the governance part of it. When we are talking about it, many of the, in fact, the Maharashtra IT department has come up with a GR whereby they have been saying that everything from the data center has to move into cloud. So they are talking about their own way of digital transformation where they're looking at automation and integration in a very big way. So there is a huge spend on which the government is looking at. If you look, they're even looking at the computer emergency response teams. जो मंत्रालय, जो parliaments को address करते हैं, they are coming out with different verticals under the CERT. So different CERTs will try to address to different type of, basically PSUs or verticals. So they are coming up with a CERT for power. They are coming up with a CERT for, railways. They will be coming out with a CERT for BFSIs. So there will be a different emergency response team around security, cyber security issues for various aspects. And even if you look at the right side, there is the defacements, the number of defacements in 2017. So the concern around cyber security has been increasing. The government is cautious. In fact, the Ministry of IT, if you see their website, it's been, the front page has been loaded about cyber security and how to go about it, what are the various steps to be taken. This is another aspect which the government has introduced. They have come up with the National Cyber Coordination Cell, under which they are going to monitor every traffic which is going to come through the ISPs, whether private or public. So there is a different body which has been formed by the government. That's how serious probably the government is around the cyber security, because a lot of things happening over the IT now with the Aadhaar integration and everything going online. It is very prominent to, for them to probably look at this aspect. And even if you look at different verticals which are impacted, many of you would be influencing, having customers around different verticals. बहुत लोग कहते हैं कि government sector is the one which is heavily, probably attacked by cyber criminals. That's not the case. If you look at this particular information from the CERT, where different FIRs been launched by different companies, verticals, you will see that there is a mix in banking, energy, defense. In fact, every sector has been impacted. Today, in fact, the latest news is by evening when I was coming here to the venue, I could hear that there are a lot of Department of Defense website is being defaced, and a lot of Chinese publications have been put on that website, and many other important key websites have been defaced. In spite of having n number of security practices been implemented, the cybersecurity vendors are, the cybersecurity, miscreants have been doing so many sort of things around them. Here, in the next generation threats, many of you know about the MS-DOS. MS-DOS was an era where you had got a cuckoo sort of a virus which was initially introduced, which was only going to create some characters on the, it's an exe file when you run, and it was to put some characters on the screen. But today, the age has changed. You have generators being blown remotely. We are talking about a big SCADA concern which has come up. We have got many projects around OT at the moment happening in India, and many of the integrators are working with us on those phases. I'm talking about IT and OT. And as you know that there is a lot of concern around IoT, and there are departments in many of the PSUs and manufacturings which are talking about OT security. They are talking about operational technologies which are basically the backbone of any manufacturing organization, and they want to ensure that their machines, their IT to OT communications are completely secured, which is a very big concern as cyber criminals have been trying to attack those areas. Talking about digital transformation, the whole evening has been going across, many experts talking to you about that. Digitizing every part of business so that the business brings more performance to reach more customers is the idea of any business house. That's why they are taking up the digital transformation. There are various classic examples. Some of them are like developing apps. Many of the companies are now trading on, basically they don't have a shop, they're trading on apps, they're trading on online. The idea here is to basically reach to more and more customers in a more faster way, either using social network and so on and so forth. This digital transformation requires a lot of support from the IT community down there. So every organization is looking towards that, and security plays a very important role. When we talk about it, because हर चीज को आपको digitize करना है, every aspect of business has to go online or has to be completely digital in terms of records, documents, everything. So whether it is data in motion, data in store, you want to secure both the aspects of it. Cybersecurity plays a very important role, and that's how vendors like us come into picture. And why so? If you look at this part, you're talking about a network which is very broad. No, down the line we had networks which were concise to a LAN or an intranet or a branch. Today the network is in the cloud. It is borderless. You're talking about devices, you're talking about BYOD, you're talking about employees who are allowed to bring their own gadgets, their own computing devices into the network, connect to those networks. So you have a very broad network, right from the private to the public, completely. Second, integration. The main challenge which any organization in a digital transformation faces is integration. Integration in its own sense, because there are any chotu organization if you take, I'm talking about a 250-seat user organization, an SMB, SME, you will find that they are having 30 plus point devices. That's the average of number of point solutions they have of different OEMs. The challenge comes in the integration. Secondly, the form factor, because again they are using on appliance, they are using cloud computing devices and so on and so forth. And similarly, the complexities around that. Lastly, it is the automation thing. If you look at the automation part, you're talking about skill sets to probably achieve that, which is a big concern for many of the organizations in the digital transformation, and the speed in which you can ensure that the IT is up along with the business to deliver it. So that's some of the challenges which are being faced. And if you look at it from a cybersecurity perspective, a security framework in a digital transformation, you will see an organization needs to first identify the attacks, the surface of attacks. मतलब user में है या application में vulnerability है या user के access में problem है, those type of things, which are the areas of attack, which are the areas which I need to secure. Then you need to ensure that what are the known attacks. There are many of the attacks which are happening today in the field of IT, whereby a new program has been written or recompiled and the antivirus OEM doesn't have a signature to protect that. We are talking about zero-day attacks in general. So these are the very common practices which are happening, where you hear about the word called ransomware, which is basically completely zero-day, it's unknown, and you want to protect that. Again, there is an aspect of trust. Simple. You have an organization who wants to access maybe an application remotely or into the infrastructure by bringing its own device. You want to authenticate it, authorize it. You want to maintain the compliances for your organization at the same time, in spite of authorizing and enabling it. So these are the areas under the security aspects which you look for a digital transformation age. And if you really want to achieve that, if you see this, right from the area or the generation of lock and key to viruses, today we are moving towards advanced threat concerns. Advanced threats because you don't know where the areas of concerns lie. Either it is at the data which is coming in the organizations, or at the user level which is accessing the network, and so on and so forth. So you require a complete orchestrated approach to mitigate the threats when they are so broad. Right from an SMB to an enterprise, because they are leveraging different types of networks, different types of business avenues to probably expand in this entire digital transformation phase. So the approach which Fortinet has been adopting, and that's the appeal when we asked the partner community, the channel community to why look at Fortinet. It is basically around the security fabric. The security fabric is the very unique proposition which Fortinet has brought to the channels, which increases their aspect or solution avenue in terms of to go to the market. So here is the security fabric approach which Fortinet is adopting. If you look at any organization, these are the different areas of networks or computes it will have. Data center, cloud, public cloud, maybe NOC, branch office, or campus. I'm sure you're servicing, these are the network areas of a client or a business areas of the client. Here, Fortinet, if you look at it, first can be adopted in the form of our flagship product called FortiGate, which is the next generation firewall, which will protect your perimeter, core, branches, and that is today replacing a switch and a router also. So you have got a completely, I would say, a comprehensive device, which is also today enable the organizations with SD-WAN solution. SD-WAN is the buzzword, and many of the organizations want to do the business at a faster rate with the very limited resources they have got. SD-WAN is something that can be enabled in the same FortiGate solution and which can replace your switches and routers too. So this is one area where you can address. Next, how to increase your business in that organization with the fabric story. Sabse bada important part is broad, integrated, and you automated. That's the perspective that we want to bring. Second is, many of the customers have adopted their data centers in the cloud. You want solutions to be deployed in the cloud. Amazon, Azure, Oracle, other types of clouds which are there, private. FortiGate products, Fortinet products are all available in the cloud also. You can service them, sell them as licenses, and you can increase your portfolio to service them. Next is advanced persistent threats, APT. Many of the customers today require zero-day protection from the unknown threats, ransomware, malware, vagara vagara. You want to provide them with an APT solution to address them. There are many vendors available in this domain to provide that technology, but the limitation with these vendors is they are only integrated to their own product. Fortinet APT solution is integrated not only to its own different products and which can update on a zero-day threat, it can also integrate with other third-party products. We have a broad area of security fabric alliance partners, right from Cisco, HP, McAfee and others, whereby we share our threat intelligence to even those OEMs, and they can update their defense vector in that sense. So that's another area of increment which you can look at it. Then we have got something called as access control. We have got wireless portfolio. Today the whole Mumbai city wireless has been done by Fortinet, whereby we are offering wireless services. Now here, the same FortiGate box can work as a controller, and you can offer a complete Wi-Fi solution to an organization. So a user who's entering into a network, he is authenticated, secured. We can even check on what devices he's accessing, how much he can access from that device, what are the compliance policies that have to be enforced on that users. Everything can be done using the FortiGate and the Wi-Fi integration which we have. So you have 40 access points which can be integrated. At the same time, you have also got endpoints. So Fortinet comes with endpoints for mobile phones and also for your computing device. You can have that also. Very importantly, we have also got an application security portfolio. So RBI has made it mandatory for cooperative banks and the other private banks and so on and so forth to adopt 3 different or 4 security solutions for sure. One is definitely the firewall or NGFW. Secondly is the WAF, Web Application Firewall. Web Application Firewall is a mandate because most of the defacements which are happening or cross-site scriptings which are happening towards the net banking pages where you do the online transactions are all happening because of application vulnerabilities. तो आप लोगों के पास WAF बेचने का भी एक avenue है. WAF is a mandate which is being done by the RBI to most of the banks which they have to implement it. Third, DDoS. DDoS solutions. You need to ensure that the bank has got a robust DDoS protection for its data center. So DDoS is another avenue the banks are looking at. And then zero-day protection, that is APT. So many of the banks will come back to you with an APT requirement. Again, an APT, even the topmost bank in my country today is debating on the APT practice that they want to implement. Should we go with a solution which can only integrate with its endpoint, or should we go with a solution which can integrate with a complete IT infrastructure they have with different network points they have, point solutions they have in general. So this is what is the message from our side. You have got a security fabric story. You have got 15 to 20 different cybersecurity products under Fortinet. And even Gartner today as a leading analyst endorses that organizations need to look at something called as an integrated OEM who can provide a broad vector of solutions which are automated, integrated, and probably can be scalable down the line in general. So that's the message from our side on the security fabric fund. If I've got maybe more time or you want me to conclude here, I'm okay. Because I think most of you know about Fortinet. I see a lot of faces with whom I've done business and grown my career here. At the same time, if you have any questions, my whole team is there. We have a booth outside. Fortinet today is a 500-man team operating out of 16 offices in this country. We have a turnover of around 400 CR, close to that, in this country at the moment. Most of the government, large projects, very critical projects have been secured by Fortinet. 35,000 to 40,000 organizations secure their data centers with Fortinet technology in general. The message to the channel from our side when we talked about digital transformation is just don't rely on one technology. One thing that you have sold a customer, given a solution because you are a value-added reseller. Go to the next level. And that's what Fortinet is trying to bring to with the security fabric story, because integration, orchestration is the message ahead. Fabric is the message ahead. How we OEMs will be looking at it. Thank you so much for your time.